say, man, I don't know her. She's too quiet.
What up, though? It's your girl, She's Too Quiet, and welcome back to the She's Too Quiet podcast. She's Too Quiet is all about remembering that your voice matters. People are actually interested in you. They want to know what you like, what you don't like, where you like to go, where you don't go. They may not tell you face to face, but they are wondering what you're into. So don't be afraid to use your voice. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about moving to another city as a quiet girl. So I am currently in Dallas. I was living in San Antonio, and I decided to move up here due to a job opportunity. I was feeling a lot of things prior to the move. I was at a breaking point in life where I felt like I was trying to see what to do next. Like, where did God want me to go next? Was this it? Should I try something else? This wasn't really working how I thought it was gonna be. So where do I go from here? So I was at a job where I wasn't the most comfortable at. I normally work with patients, and I was working with more military staff, both retired and active duty. And the military lifestyle in itself is a whole different culture. So the way they talk is different. They use a lot of acronyms. They tell time different. They understand a whole bunch of different stuff that I had no experience in. So literally when I got the job, I had a whole lot to learn. It was a huge learning curve for me. And the people there, they were cool and all, but it got to a point where they were like, listen, this is your job. I'm not going to tell you how to learn your job. You're going to have to learn what you need to learn by asking what you need to ask so you can get what you need to get. And I was like, dang, that's how y'all gonna do me?
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
So after I actually, started getting in there and learning what I was supposed to do and actually got on a good wave, I still wasn't happy. I still felt like I don't think this is for me. And I always look for advancement in positions. And it's crazy because, you take a position and you're like, okay, I'm going to stay here for a while. Like, I've been climbing this proverbial ladder. And now that I'm here, I think I'm going to just take my ladder down from the side of the building and just go inside the building and rest. But I was trying to rest at a place where I wasn't happy. So I remember calling my mom all the time on my lunch break, like, Mom, hey, shawty, Mom, listen. Your girl about to drive off. Like, would they notice? Would they care if I was just gone for the day? And she would always talk me off the ledge. You have a few more hours left. Go in there and just do what you can and you'll be done. And it would be those kind of conversations. So I wind up applying for a position in Dallas just because, I was like, something got to shake because I got bills to pay. I can't just stop working because I got responsibilities I need to take care of. And I don't want to move back to my parents' house because I have to leave this job. I'm just the type of person where I don't like to go backwards, especially if I don't have to. Like, I've always been very independent. So once I moved out of my parents' house in 2020, I made a vow that I'm not going to go back and live with them unless I really have to. There's definitely times in life where you need to lean on your parents. Let's just say, things don't work out, you're in a bind, and I understand you do have to go back. You do have to go where there's help. But for me, I wasn't really in that situation. It was just me being unhappy where I was. So I was like, how am I going to make it shake? What am I going to do to change this? So I started applying for jobs. And also I was having a very hard time with my apartment. It just began to fall apart. And I felt like management did not care at all about how their apartments were looking, what was happening in them. And there was two instances that really like put the nail in the coffin for me. The first one was when they left my door open.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So I was doing something. Oftentimes I stayed with my parents when I would be like, let's just say it's a Friday and I had to do something on their side of the town Saturday morning. I would stay over their house Friday night so I can be closer to where I needed to be the next morning. So that's what I did one day, and then I had to go home to go get something, right? I go home, my door is wide open, not just closed and unlocked. That mug was cracked open so you can see in the house. All kinds of stuff raced through my mind. Who been in here? Did they rob me? Who did this? I was going crazy. I ended up calling the front office. They had like 30 minutes before they closed. I was like, listen, somebody was in my apartment. It looks like the master key from the maintenance man is in the doorknob. Is this how y'all running things over here? Is this normal? What y'all got going on? Pretty much was the type of energy I was giving them. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, somebody gonna come over here or what? You know, so somebody came over there. They went in the apartment. They wanted to go in before I did so they can make sure nobody was in there. But I was like, listen, like, what's wrong? Like, what y'all doing? And then I think my AC, something had happened with my AC. So they had fixed the unit and they had like a portable AC in there. They were about to leave without taking the portable AC. I was like, if you say y'all was done, I mean, y'all left my door open because y'all was done, and you still ain't gonna take this equipment out, you might as well take it with you. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll get that. I was like, oh my gosh. That was instance number one. I was like, nah, this apartment ain't it. Number two, I woke up one morning and I stepped into a puddle and I was like, oh man, I must have spilled something while I was asleep. Like, you know, some water or something off my nightstand. I looked, I was like, this not adding up. So I went and I looked on my patio and my patio was wet. And there's a little storage closet outside that has the water heater and like my storage bins in there and stuff. And so I was like, the patio is wet. It did not rain. There's water in my bedroom. Something happened in that storage closet. I opened up that storage closet. The water heater was leaking, springing water all over the closet. All of my stuff in there was wet. My Christmas tree box was wet. My storage bins was wet. The walls were moldy. I don't know how long that thing has been leaking. Mold was everywhere. I called the office. I was like, hello, I have a leak. I need y'all to come look at this. You know, there's water everywhere. There's mold everywhere. You want to know what their solution was? We'll paint over it. We're going to have somebody come fix the leak and that'll be it. I'm like, what? Listen.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Are you kidding? There was water that was out there and now it's inside the apartment. You're telling me you're going to paint over mold? Mold. And I'm like thinking in my head, for it to get on the inside of in my bedroom, something has got to be, you know, on the baseboards that can get moldy and rotted or something. And I don't even know how long this has been happening. I was like, okay, this is y'all solution. This is your justification. I was not happy with that. So I was just like, man, I got to get out of my apartment. I had money, but I didn't want to move. Like, I can't move wherever I wanted to move because I didn't make enough to do that. So my house choices or my apartment choices were very limited based off of how much I could afford, right? So I was like, nah, you know, I don't want to live over there. I can't stay here. So where am I gonna move to? Like, I need a whole nother tax bracket. At this point, I need a whole nother tax bracket. My apartment needs to be so much better than this. And I really need a leg up right now because things ain't working out for me. And then even on a personal level, right? I got my friends, cool, still no man, still not like a lot of black people in San Antonio. So, you have very limited choices. And then men in the church is not prevalent these days. So I'm like, I need to be around new people because in every aspect of my life, things just ain't working out. Even, overloading at church with, a lot of events, and I was the media director, and, just so much on my plate, family issues, family drama coming in and out of my life. And I'm like, Lord, something got to shake. Something got to shake. So this job had came through. But before I even said yes to the job, I went and I visited with a friend. We went down to Dallas for a weekend before I even got the offer, because I'm like, I need to know if I would actually live here before I say yes, or if I say no because I don't like how the vibe is. But I will never know if I don't actually go down there and look around and see, where I may be living, what does the job look like, where will I be at. So me and her, we decided to come down, and it was a quick weekend because we had about, I would say, maybe 6 apartments lined up to go visit. And the main thing that got me to say yes was the people. There was a lot of friendly people that we met in our short time here. Like, every place we went, we didn't really run into a negative person, or the energy wasn't bad. Like, the apartment people were nice. When we went to like Walmart or, went to a store or something, everybody was very nice, very polite. People would talk to us. So it's very friendly. The people are. So I was like, okay, I can probably do this. So unbeknownst to me, they did actually offer me the job after I got done looking around. And after that, of course, you're scared. There's so much unknown about this new opportunity. Can I afford living in Dallas? The cost of living is higher here than in San Antonio. So I was like, am I going to be making enough? Is the timing right? Once you get your start date, they expect you to be starting on that start date. So once I got my date, I was like, okay, now I have to get everything going so that I can make sure I can get there on time. I have to close out apartments. I have to start new services in a different place. Find out what electric company to get, because that's one difference from Dallas to San Antonio. You actually have to pick your electric company. It's not one company for the whole area. So I had to do some research on that, and it was scary, and then very overwhelming because you have to prep, right? I need boxes, I need tape, I need to set up an appointment with the U-Haul people so I can rent the U-Haul. So it was just very overwhelming. And then I have to train people at my job and at church to make sure that they know what they need to know so that they can run smoothly without me. Because to be honest, especially for work, like, they give me a paycheck. They have kept my lights on. They have kept me fed. They have kept gas in my car. So I don't want to leave them with a mess, or I don't want to leave them with anything undone, because they did provide for me. And a lot of times jobs do get bad reps because, oh, you work a 9 to 5 and you're a slave to the man. Well, I mean, that's not always the case, because you are getting paid in return, like, they are putting food on your table. Like, who else gonna give it to you, especially if you're not an entrepreneur, If you don't make your own way, who else is gonna give you what you need or the resources that you need to live, So, but so I did want to make sure that I trained with them so that they had what they needed to have. And I was also hopeful because everything's new, right? I have a new job. I have to find a new church. I'll be around new people and coworkers. I'll get to explore a new city, and I'll have more free time that I didn't normally have. So it's a lot of opportunity, which can give me a little bit of anxiety too as a quiet person, because I do not like to talk. So I take this opportunity as something to use if you're interested in growing. if you're in the position to move to a new city, I think you should try it. I really do, at least just once, to see if it's something that you can do. I guarantee you it'll help you grow, because you'll have to be, stepping out of boxes that you wouldn't normally step out of. For example, talking, meeting new people. And me, I'm not a small talker, and I think that's probably where I have the hardest time, is the small talk. Like when you're approaching somebody and you guys don't know each other, and then y'all have this small talk before you get comfortable. I don't have a good small talk type of personality. Like, I'd rather us talk about a topic. Like if I ask you something or you ask me something that's more topical, but the small talk, I'm not really good at that. It becomes really awkward for me. So yeah, it's something that I can work on now that I have to, since, the amount of people that I know is not as great as, of course, being in my hometown. So, yeah, it's very interesting. And being social, period, is hard for me because I'm a quiet person. So I value alone time, and I know that I can't sustain myself being alone, though. Like, God did not create us to be alone. So I can't expect for me to actually make it here if I don't meet friends, or if I don't meet a church family to have support me in times that I need. So I'm very aware that I do need people, but it's definitely hard to work myself out of the introvert in me to be more sociable. And also, being social drains energy of a quiet person. So I've been battling with that. Like, I've been trying to get out a little bit, but again, it's like I'm just not good at it. But I'm trying to keep doing it so that I become more and more comfortable. And hopefully, I'll master the small talk. I'll master being sociable in a little bit. So basically, I said all that to say, try moving to a new city if something has not, taken off the way you would like in your life. You may never know, this may be the catalyst to start something new in your life, start something fresh. You'll get a new outlook on life. Right now, I'd say I like Dallas. I don't love Dallas, but it's not a bad place to be. I don't know if I'll be here for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. But for now, I'm interested to see what God has in store for me. I'm getting out a little bit. I did find a church that I enjoy going to. I have good people at work that I'm surrounded by. So I'm just hopeful that things will continue going on in the right direction for me. One thing I do want to say is that it is not without its challenges. So everything isn't easy. Everything has its nuances. So don't get discouraged when you do decide to step out and move to a new city. Everything will fall into place when it needs to fall in place. All you have to do is keep doing the right things, keep being honest, keep being trustworthy, and everything will pan out. A lot of times we should pay attention if things become harder than it needs to be. For example, I told the Lord, I said, Lord, if this job is not for me, something is going to break. Something in the process is going to break. Something is going to be too hard for me to get out of. Like, even because I had to break my lease too to get out of my current apartment, because I had the start date, right? So I was like, man, I got to get money to break the lease. So Lord, if for some reason I don't have the money and I can't break the lease, it's not in your will for me to go to Dallas. Like, Lord, if they can't allow me to start when I want to start, or at least start in a time frame that works for me, it's probably not in your will for me to be there. So I do want you guys to kind of pay attention if you're interested in moving, or you're interested in doing anything different in your life, period. Just kind of check and see, is this too hard to where, it would be an inconvenience for you? If anything is overly an inconvenience for you, I think it should deserve a second look on whether or not you should move forward with it. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope that you think about maybe stretching your wings out and moving to a different place. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that. If you're interested in seeding into the She's Too Quiet podcast, feel free to give me a cash app at $ She's Too Quiet. Be easy, love God, love people. Until next time, deuces.